Welcome everyone to today's special live event with Funtimes Magazine. We are going to get set up and I encourage you to spread the word and share this live with your friends and your family. We have some special guests going to be jumping on, and so come on in the room for Funtimes Magazine special live event. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, I think we have one of the guests. Welcome. We have Coach B in the house. Hello, welcome.
You. Thank you so much. So glad to be
We are
here.
so glad to have you. We have one more guest that's going to be joining, so I'm going to wait for her
Okay.
to join us. Again, everyone, we have a special live by Funtimes Magazine. We're going to have a great conversation today, and so make sure you spread the word and join us in the comments by asking questions and getting involved, and we will get started very shortly.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see. I see Miss Sandy. Are you trying to come in, Miss Sandy? All right. Let's see. I'm looking for one more guest, Dr. Juliet, and then we'll get started. But again, come on in the room. We have a really good conversation today about faith, family, and culture. So I hope you guys are
Yeah.
ready to ask your questions. Hello, I see the Fun Times crew is here, showing
Okay.
love. Dr. Juliet, if you are watching, please send me a request so I can accept you and we will get started with this conversation. Just making sure. I'm going to accept you, Miss Sandy. I'm not sure if you're trying to jump on. I hope you know your camera is on. I hope you're ready. Miss Sandy, I don't think you're ready.
I'm
Uh-oh.
ready.
Okay, you ready? You joining in the conversation today?
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just listening to the conversation today.
You kept sending me a request, so I
Oh, I don't know.
I think you was
No,
trying
I
to come
can't.
on in.
No. I just want to listen.
Okay, well,
Should I
I'm gonna
welcome
have to.
them on behalf of Fun Time since
Yes,
I'm
please
on?
go ahead and
Okay.
welcome everyone.
Greetings. And on behalf of Fun Times Magazine, we so welcome you. We are so grateful to have our speakers here to reveal more insight on faith and culture and community. We, on behalf of Fun Times directors, the staff, the family of Fun Times, we welcome you and we are grateful and appreciative of you. And I thank you just for being here. On that, you will get a blessing and everybody will get a blessing this afternoon. Thank you.
Well, thank you. See, I love when you're on. I love when you're on. Now, I don't know how to take you out of here, Miss Sandy. So you're gonna have to figure out how to disconnect because I don't think I can.
She may have to
Yes.
just go off the page and then
Yeah.
come back in. There
Okay,
you
there
go.
she goes.
Hmm.
So let's see. Oh, there we go. I see you, Dr. Juliet. Send me a request so I can add you. I see everyone in the room. We got people in the room, so we are so excited to have this conversation. It says that she is unable to join. What is that? And I just sent her a request. So let's try this again. I'm sending you a request. And you declined the request. I'm accepting, I'm sending it to you.
Oh no.
Little technical difficulties, but we're going to let's see. And it says you are declining the request. I don't know what that is about. Team in the chat, feel free to let me know
Hmm.
what that might be about. 'Cause I'm sending the request and it's getting denied. So if you have another Instagram, Dr. Juliet, you want to jump on, please let me know.
Hmm.
But do want to get started. I want to thank you all for coming to our special live today with Funtimes Magazine. I am your host, Lavon Nichols, and I am so excited about this conversation today. We're talking about faith, family, and culture, and we're going to dive into the different religions that we celebrate during the winter holidays and how we have so much to learn from the amazing perspectives that's going to be shared today. And so, Dr. Juliet, I can see you in the comments, but I cannot see your request. And I have sent you a request, so I'm not quite sure how to connect you. But if my team is in the chat, can help out with that, that'd be awesome. Dr. Juliet, I just sent you an invite, so you just have to accept the invite, and it'll bring you on with us. And so today we have we have Coach B, right?
Yes.
So we want to thank you for being here, and we are trying to welcome Dr. Julia and Yoki to the conversation. But as soon as we get her on, we will welcome her as well. But I want to thank you for being here, Coach B,
Yes.
right? Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And,
Yes.
and so, where are you joining us today from?
I'm from Philadelphia,
Philadelphia in
Philadelphia,
the house.
Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Yes.
And we have
Yes.
people from all over the African diaspora joining us. And so we're so excited to have different perspectives on the winter holidays and events that happen. And so let's kick this off with a little bit of a warm question for you. How does your faith play a part in the winter holidays?
Wow, my faith plays a very big part in the holidays. I am of the Baptist faith, and it's always about celebrating during this Advent season
Mm,
with song, with praise dance, just
mm,
with coming together in celebration of the birth of Christ, and just loving, on your family and loving on those that may not have the opportunity also to share with their families. They could be going through grief and different things. So it's all about giving
mm-hmm.
and letting people know that this is a time, that we should be loving on one another and making sure that people feel loved and
Yes.
seen. So I'm just really excited about this season. I always love this season around this time. And we're always celebrating too with my faith, with singing and
Mm.
concerts and different things. We're getting ready for a concert that's coming up in about a week.
Okay.
So it's just all about celebration and just giving and love. So that's what it's all about. And I'm excited. This
Awesome.
season
I love
around
what you said about being loved and seen. And that is something that I feel like people
with
want to
singing
happen, all the time. They want to feel
things.
loved and
We're
seen.
getting
And
ready
so
for a
we
concert
want to
that's
welcome
coming
Dr.
up
Juliet to the
about
conversation.
I'm hearing
So
some feedback too.
if you have it
Celebration,
on two devices, Dr.
giving,
Juliet, can you hang up
love. So
on the extra
that's what
one?
it's all about. And I'm excited.
Now I can.
I love what you said about welcome, welcome, welcome to the conversation.
I don't
Are we frozen?
see her. Do
I
you
think
see
she's,
her?
I can see her. I think we're a little frozen at the moment.
Okay, because I
There we
can't see
go.
her.
Hello, Dr. Julia. How are you? Oh, okay. Well, we'll send another request. We're going to get this technology together. Yes. Yes. I'm going to send her another invite so she can accept it. and she might just pop back in. But again, I thank you
Okay.
for sharing that. And so you talked
Yeah.
about what you have planned coming up. Do you mind sharing one of your most memorable winter holiday experiences?
Yes, I would love to. God rest her soul. My grandmom has passed away, but when my grandmother was living, that was just to me such a joyous time,
Mm,
because as a family, we would always come together each year, whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, we would each year go to a different family member's home
mm,
when my grandmother was alive.
mhm.
And based on the household, each household would bring a dish, one of their favorite dishes, and we would just come together. We would exchange gifts. We would have music. It was always about music,
Yeah.
family, and food, right? And I mean,
Yes.
we would just enjoy each other. And I miss that. My grandmother has been gone for a number of years now, but we still get together, but it's smaller, on a smaller
Mhm.
scale. But I mean, those memories, I mean, it was just something that will always be in my heart. And it was just a wonderful
Yeah.
time. All the children, seeing the children play and just having just a good time sitting around talking about memories,
Yeah.
from when my parents were growing up and different things. And it was just a wonderful time. And that will always, always be with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds so special. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing. Family means so much, and having those memories of loved ones who are no longer here, it
Yes.
means the world. So that's why
Yes.
it's so important for us to talk about these things so that we can, keep those memories and keep their memory alive in our hearts. And
Absolutely.
so thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
I think, oh, okay, I don't know this person, so I'm not going to allow them to join. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to share one of the memories that I have. Uh, I don't know when we started it, but in this area, there's a botanical gardens called Longwood Gardens. It's in
Yes.
Kenneth
Yes.
Square, PA. And so my mom and dad took us there, and
Oh,
it's just a beautiful place with flowers and just
yeah.
nature. And during the holidays, they put lights everywhere,
Beautiful.
everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. Have you been there?
Yes. It is
Yes.
gorgeous.
It's one of
Yes.
my favorite places, and we would go every year. And so now, as an adult, and now with my own family, now we've
Yes.
made that a tradition to keep on going.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And
Wonderful. Yes, that place is beautiful. Do they still have the concerts as
yes,
well?
they do. They do.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, they
Yes,
do
yes. I
still.
haven't been in a few years, but it is absolutely beautiful,
Yes.
breathtaking. Yes,
Yeah, so I
yes,
encourage anyone who, has access to botanical gardens during the winter time and how they
yes.
light them up. And so in the chat, as we wait for Dr. Juliet, I did send that invitation one more time, Dr. Juliet, to you. In the chat, if you guys can share some of the memories that you've had, what was something that you did that you enjoyed growing up, a memorable winter holiday event.
Yes.
I see you. And if you have questions for us as we go along, I encourage you again to please put them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. But please feel free to share your holiday memories, especially if you are not in the United States, but you have some other places. We would love to hear, especially our team that is in Nigeria. Please, put in the chat and let
Yes.
us know some of the memories that you have. All right, so we're going to go on to our next question, and I'm really hoping that Dr. Julia is able to join us as soon as possible. But we're going to start talking a little bit more about like family dynamics and blending traditions. And as we know, the holidays are a time for families and friends to come together, and sometimes there are different cultural traditions to navigate. They could be
Yes.
very interesting. So let's dive in a little bit more on that. So, um, uh, Coach B, can you tell me if you have had or have you seen families with cultural restrictions, and how do they manage to blend the celebration of different cultures around the holidays?
Well, it's funny you said that. I actually went to Catholic school when I was younger. and the whole dynamics is so different from the Baptist culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did see a lot of differences in how they would celebrate. But, to be honest with you, I think it's just a matter of just being
Mm-hmm.
unified. We all may have some differences. And there could be, I don't know if it could be some restrictions with specific types of food.
Mm-hmm.
It could be with the way that they pray or different
Mm.
things. But I just see it as just coming together, being together and unified, not being separate, but being considerate and
Yes.
respecting each other's views, where you can come together and there not be a division.
Right.
So I hope I'm
Yes.
making
Yes.
myself clear on what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes.
So I personally have not really went through anything like that, because we've always been
Right.
respectful of other religions and
Mm-hmm.
other cultures and their
Yeah.
faiths. And like, for instance, we used to, with the church that I belong to, we used to go to the Jewish mosque
Mm-hmm.
too,
Mm-hmm.
around that time, and do different concerts and things. So, I mean, I've been around different faiths and cultures, and we always find a way
Yeah.
to come together and to be unified. So, I mean,
Yes.
I think that's a beautiful thing. Why should we have to be separate? Why not celebrate each other and each other's
Yes.
cultures? So that's how
Yes.
I've always been raised.
Awesome. Coach
Yeah.
B, you're getting a lot of love. I
Oh,
see a lot of hearts coming on. And let me tell you who did not stop and they found a way. Dr. Juliet found a way and is joining us. So
Yes, yes.
welcome, welcome,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we just want to dive, we're going to keep diving into our questions. And so the question that I proposed is really talking about family dynamics and blending traditions. And so if you could just shed your perspective on blending traditions, and have you kind of seen how cultural restrictions make it kind of interesting to navigate?
Is this me now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, because I was listening to both of you while the technical issue was going on. Yes, this the festive holiday period is a time of beautiful tradition for us. I heard Coach B when she was saying how that was a time that brought a lot of people together. And that's actually our experience as well, because
Mhm.
even though it's Christmas time and we celebrate Christmas, I mean, our Muslim neighbors and traditional worshippers know that this is a time where a lot of food and
Mhm.
good cooking would be shared. And
Yes.
there's really no division because, I mean, the food is cooked and is shared with neighbors, no matter your religion.
Hmm.
Everybody shared in the joy equally.
yes,
During this period, nobody even remembers that
Yeah.
there are different religion. It's just the joy of the period is what people enjoyed, and
Yes.
that is what makes the season so special.
Yes.
yes,
I love that. I love that. And like you said, there's no need, both of you both said there's no need for division. We just come
right,
together. And I think
yes,
that's why the holiday season, no matter where you are, is such a big thing, because there's something about the atmosphere, people's attitudes. Now, not everyone, there's always foolishness, but most of the people are just happy and they want to come
yes,
together, they want to celebrate, and they're open to seeing how someone else, celebrates the holidays. And so thank you both for sharing that. I want to ask you, just diving a little bit more into the interfaith and intercultural relationships, and speaking to the blending of traditions, what are some of the challenges of approaching the holidays with a partner who is a different faith or a different culture?
mm. That's
So,
a good
Dr.
question.
Coach B, go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good question. I know for myself, with some family members, the different challenges. Like, for instance, my aunt is of Baptist faith,
Mm-hmm.
but her husband is Jehovah Witness.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a big difference there. with Jehovah Witness, they don't celebrate birthdays and
Mm-hmm.
different things. And
Mm-hmm.
um, it's just a big difference there.
Yeah.
But they seem to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she goes to her church and he goes, where he goes, and they make
Right.
it work, and they've been together for quite some
Right.
time. Um, but and not to, I'm always about unity, but I also feel too, for me personally, I think if it was my spouse, it would probably be hard for
Mm-hmm.
me because I'm all about family and doing things together. So I really wouldn't want for myself to go to one church and my spouse go somewhere else. I
Right.
would really like us to worship together,
Mm-hmm.
but some people are making it work, and if it
Yeah.
works for them, I'm all for it. But me personally, I would like for my family to worship together.
Yeah,
That's
and that's a
yeah,
very, I definitely understand that. There's a lot
yeah,
of people who understand that, Coach B, that,
yeah,
you don't want to be apart, but somehow people are
yeah.
making, there's lots of people who have
Making
multiple
it work.
faiths in their families, and they're making it
Yeah,
work. So,
yeah.
Dr. Juliet, please share some light on this question.
Yeah, I would say that, of course, growing up, we came from a culture where people tended to kind of stay within, their religious
Yes.
upbringing. And it used to be that it was such a difficult thing for people to cross lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interfaith marriages. But that's no longer the case. Now,
Yes.
so much more intermarriages and intermingling amongst different
Yeah.
religions and different
Yeah.
cultures. And even back when it wasn't, the lines seemed to be so hard drawn, when it came to celebrating the holiday season, people tended to really leave aside their differences and
Mm-hmm.
the joy of the celebration.
Yes.
Because think
Yes.
about
Yeah.
it, no matter what religious leaning you belong to,
Yeah.
you celebrated Christ's birth,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You're of the Christian
Mm-hmm.
fold, you believe that Christ was born and
Mm-hmm.
he is our savior. So there was that celebration. It's only that there are differences in the way that people
Yes.
approach celebration.
Yeah.
So typically people really put aside their different religions and then enjoy the moment. But what really amazed me even back then was the fact that even our Muslim friends, they shared in the joy. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we literally, they forget that, okay, they're supposed to be whatever, and just share. And it's the same thing too when they're celebrating their own Salah is
Mm-hmm.
called. They also we get treated because they cook a lot of food,
Mm-hmm.
and the same thing, we're joining them to celebrate their celebrations. So
Yes.
that's the beauty of really understanding that, yeah, we may belong or have different faiths, but that shouldn't be it shouldn't be dividing us. It should
Yes.
actually
Right.
be bringing a beauty
Yes.
in the form of worship that we believe in, so it should be a
Yeah.
beauty that brings us together rather than dividing us. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It should be something that brings us together, and it's a learning opportunity. And I started this live off by saying we want to learn from
Yeah.
other people's perspectives, because it's all
right.
Yeah.
about coming together, and you want what you celebrate in your religion to be respected. That means that we have to give that same respect
Of course.
to other religions, and be open to just allowing people to celebrate, and to maybe you can learn something, maybe you can support, especially if their family is not close by and they just want to
Right.
still feel like they have home with them. And so, thank you guys. And in the comments, if you have experience having two different religions in your household, and how do you guys navigate celebrating the winter holidays, if you can share in the comments about that. But thank you, both of you, for that insight. And so, we know that the holidays aren't just about receiving, but it's about giving too. And so we're going to shift gears a little bit. And so I want to ask you, in what ways can the winter holidays be an opportunity to give back to the community or to to society? And so, Dr. Juliet, can you answer that question?
Oh, thank you for that beautiful question. I have to tell you, Lavon, that the holiday season, more than any other time, the Christmas season is a time, even growing up, what we all look forward to
Yeah.
receiving, because there's so much giving going on, and if you come from a tradition where you're used to receiving, you grow into the habit of also giving, because you're now
Yes.
in a position to give to others.
Yes.
So the holiday season is always, I mean, that's what part of what makes it very, very special, because it kind of brings up in us that spirit of
Yes.
charity, of looking for ways to not only reach out to people who are unable to celebrate because they don't have families, or people who are unable to celebrate because of health conditions, but you'd reach out to all kinds of people, to make sure that you're bringing some joy to them,
Yeah.
for the season. So yes, it's a time of giving.
Love that. Coach V?
Yes. There are always opportunities open to give and to show love. There are people that are homeless,
Mm-hmm.
people that are looking for people to be a blessing towards them. There you can make little bags, toiletry items and different things, socks and some gloves and different things. This is something that I used to do. My health, I had some health challenges from last year. I'm still recovering, but this is what I did, not last Christmas, but the years prior to last year. I would go out, I would feed the
Mm-hmm.
homeless, I would make up bags for them, give bags with toiletry items and different items, just to let them know
Yeah.
that you're thought of. I would also sign a card for each person, an individual card, and give them a Christmas
Yeah.
card. So there's always something that you could do to show love and to give back to your community and to others. So unfortunately, this year I won't be able to do it, but I'm always looking forward to doing things like that. So let's give back. Let's show
Yes,
love.
yes.
This is the
And it can
season.
be so simple,
Yeah,
as to, inviting a neighbor over if you know that they're
yeah,
alone,
yeah,
or, dropping, a flower or a gift. And you don't even have to tell people
yeah,
that you're doing it. You could just,
yeah.
I like those ten cans of popcorn, and I would just leave them on my neighbors on their step,
That's
put a
nice.
little
Yeah,
bow on it. It doesn't have to be that you're doing it for recognition. It could be just, I just want to put a
right.
smile on someone's face. I've heard of people buying, like, the person behind them their food in the drive-through or
Yeah,
at Walmart, and they pay for the person behind them, and just kind of asking them to, what is it they say, what is it, it's called, I can't think of the
pay it
word.
forward or
Yes,
something.
you're paying it forward, and so you
Yes,
do it, and then it's like you do it. You hope that someone would feel that holiday,
yeah,
joy, and do it for someone else in some kind of way. They might not be able to pay for a whole, shopping list of stuff, but they may be able
yes,
to buy a coffee for someone. And so it's about putting a smile on someone's face, because you just never know, what people are
that's right.
going through. And I know how I felt when someone just blessed me with something that they might have thought it was small, but it meant the world to me. So,
Yeah,
this is the time for giving. And I love how you both share, how you give to others. And so
yeah,
we're going to take that. Did you,
Yeah, I
uh,
just wanted
go
to,
ahead.
I want Laverne, and that the best form of giving, especially during the holiday season, is not just giving to family and
Mm,
immediate and extended, but giving
yeah,
to people who absolutely you don't even know,
yes,
and don't expect that things will be coming from that channel.
yeah,
Because I mean, again, the blessing, just thinking of somebody might need
yes,
something, let me reach out and do something.
yes,
And thanks to social media, it provides a whole lot of platforms to reach different all kinds of people.
yes,
And again,
yes.
every once in a while I do that, just reach out, pick random people and bless them.
I
and
love it.
Yeah.
and that's again, we'll have to do that for this holiday season, because we all need a little blessing here
Yes.
and
Yes.
position
Yes.
somebody, albeit very small. We might think it's small, but it's bringing a lot of joy and a lot of smile to someone's face.
Hmm.
We should always strive to do that. So, and this
Yes.
then is absolutely the time to do more of those.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And I love that Fun Times Magazine is all about giving and sharing. And so we are taking part in, I'm going to plug it now, team. We are taking part in a toy drive that will be taking place December 21st. And so we are partnering with a ministry called Abiding Truth Ministries out in Southwest Philadelphia. And so we are going to be collecting donations and volunteering our time to help other families. And right now we have hundreds of children that will be giving free toys to, doing some caroling, and Santa will be there. And so I'll talk a little bit more, so you guys don't leave. I'll talk a little bit more about this toy drive, but that is how Fun Times Magazine is giving back. And I see something in the comments, and I'm just going to read this comment from I think it says Toto. It says the holiday time is the best time of the year. Family is complete at home. We share gifts. We reach out to the children department in our Baptist church, and we go to orphanages to give them gifts and share the joy. Thank you for sharing that. And it's all about sharing the joy, because we are very blessed. Even if you might not have all the money you want, you are still blessed because you are breathing. You're able to get up. And so we want to, do our part in spread joy and love and hope to others. And so I'm going to go to our next question. And that is, let's talk about something that is really relevant to many families, and that's being apart during the holidays. So, whether that's because of military, you live or work in a different country, how does celebrating the holidays impact families when they can't be physically together? Coach B, can you shed some light on that?
Sure, sure. It brings back a lot of memories. As I mentioned earlier, how we would just come together, just had a big family, but so many have passed on.
Mm,
Um, and it's not the same
mm,
as it once was. Um, but now myself and my family, I'm always, with my mom celebrating, and my father has passed on, but my stepdad and my cousin and her daughter, we'll always come together and celebrate. But it's still a joyous time,
yeah,
and I'm so grateful for that, because some people don't even have that. You
yeah.
know, and we have to be grateful for the family that we do
Mm,
have, and the times that we do have opportunities to come together and enjoy one another. But, I do miss those times. But as I said, this is also a time we have to be mindful that it's not happy for everyone.
yeah.
There are many that are grieving, many that may be alone.
Hmm.
And I really think it's good, or a perfect opportunity, if we know of someone that is alone
Yes.
or may not have family, to do something to show that I see you.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about you.
Yes.
Even if it's, it doesn't have to be an expensive gift, but even if it's taking them just a meal, a
Hmm.
dinner or something, or just writing a handwritten card out just to let them know I'm thinking of
Right.
you. There's always something that we can do to bless someone else and to fill their heart with joy.
Yes.
So I just want to just encourage those that are listening today. If you know of someone that's alone, reach out and
Yeah.
let them know that you're thinking of them.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, we still try to come together in some form to celebrate each other. And that's the beauty of it. Celebrate one another while
Yes.
you can. Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Juliet, do you have any experience or can shed some light on when families are not able to be together and they're apart for many reasons? Like you said, someone might have passed away. We have students who are here and they can't get back home.
Yeah.
Well, I live, I totally lived it, and still do
Mm,
live it. I mean, coming all the way from Africa and relocating here. I can remember the first year I came to this country, spending the holiday season here
mm,
was one of the
mm,
toughest thing I can tell
mm.
you. Was one of the hardest things for me because all of my family was back home and you're here. I mean, like it just felt so out of place. Like because the holidays period is the time, again, like we've mentioned, family comes together and usually they travel from all
Yes.
over. It's a time for communing, it's a time for fellowshipping, it's a time for being together, telling stories, sharing memories. So to be here by myself with no family was very
Yeah.
difficult. And because of it, oh, the very next year I am
I'm,
back home, and I said, not happening again. I have to be going home, because that's what it is until, of course, you make
mhm,
connections with other people here who are just, whose situation is just like you. And then you begin to create
yes.
networks and communities that helps you to replicate those
Yeah.
times and those memories that we celebrated and how we spent holidays back home. So that made it a little easier
Hmm.
to spend the holidays over here when I don't get to travel. So we come together. You try to
Yeah.
come together with other
Hmm.
people, all those little traditions that make the holiday season special
Yeah.
back home. We sit around, we tell stories, we have really good laughs, and you share different family dynamic stories, and just that makes, and that's what makes the holiday season, just the storytelling. Because for us,
Hmm.
where we come from, stories are just what
Mm.
makes it for us.
Yes.
It's the culture for us, and our culture are tied to storytelling. So the
Yes.
opportunity to stay together with folks and just remember and tell stories of our growing up, of the times and of the changes
Yeah.
that we're living through. That's what the holidays are for
Yeah.
us. So yeah, it can be difficult, but you can also, kind of make it your own by
Mm.
creating tradition and cultures,
Yeah.
given your circumstances and situations. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it just speaks to why community is so important. Whether it is a community that you are born into or you create that community once you have relocated somewhere else. And another reason why we wanted to have this conversation, because the holidays is different for everyone, but we can all have a great time and we can also play our part. Because if you know of someone, a coworker, a neighbor, someone you go to school with that doesn't have anywhere to go, just think about how you would feel if you didn't
Mm.
have somewhere to go, and invite them. If you can, invite them, to join in with the festivities that you have going on. And sometimes it is about creating your own and just saying, okay, well, I'm not here with my family, you're not here with your family, let's do something together.
Yes.
And we start our own tradition. So thank you both for sharing that. When I think about things that kind of kept us apart as a world is the pandemic. And so the pandemic changed so many things in our lives, and the way we celebrate the holidays definitely
Yeah.
changed during that time. So, if you guys can speak to how the pandemic affected how we celebrate the holidays, especially when it comes to gathering in groups and especially places of worship, because it changed during that season.
Yes, it
Dr.
did.
Julia?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Of course, all I can say is thank God the pandemic is pretty much behind us.
Yeah.
Because it was a very, very tough time. I mean, and some of the changes that it created in the way we do things, in the way we celebrate, in the way um, we worship, is
Yeah.
still we're still suffering the effects of them
Yeah.
up till now, and we're just kind of walking through trying to get things fully back in
Mm-hmm.
place. It definitely kept, I mean, this it speaks to, the fact that we are made for community.
Mm-hmm.
We are made for connectedness. And the experience of that pandemic more than said it all. We're not made to be alone.
No.
We're made for
Mhm.
community. And the effects that the loneliness that the shutout created, like I said, we're still trying to recover fully from it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just forbid that anything like that would happen again.
Yeah.
We just continue to work to in community with each other, to relate with each other, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
And again, thank God for the holidays that continue to make it possible for us to find ways to make times from our very, very busy schedules
Yes.
to get together and be family and community. So
Coach B. Sorry.
Yes, that's okay. My church is still really impacted by it because there are still so many people that are still just attending virtually.
Virtually.
So
Yeah.
there's so many people still missing from the congregation because they're all on virtual. And, I mean, some people, they're just, a lot of people are still
Yeah.
afraid. They're still afraid. And, but as um, I'm sorry,
yeah,
Dr. What's
Julia.
Dr.
as you were saying, it's about community, it's about fellowship, and that is so important to God as well, that we fellowship and commune together. So we're still trying to work through
Mm-hmm.
it. It's still a lot to work through. Families still, are not coming together as much as they used to. Some are, but it's still a large impact
Mm-hmm.
from the pandemic. But we're trying to work through it, and I just pray that we don't have to go through anything like that again, because that was really hard. It was really hard, yeah. But
Yeah.
we're working through it, and hopefully, things will come back
Yeah.
to a better place where we can all just come together again as we were once before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It definitely wasn't a
yeah,
good time, but people made
yeah,
the best out of the situation. And
yeah,
like you said, there are still many people who, depending on what your job was,
yeah,
it's now completely virtual,
yeah,
depending on where you worship, your place of worship. Some people have not come back in, or they have now given a hybrid option for those who
yeah,
don't feel comfortable going back into a public space.
yeah,
The holidays sometimes also bring some germs and flu and cold and stuff, and
yeah,
that makes people very unsure. And I'm glad that people are braving it, and or learning how to modify and navigate and still come together during the holidays, just to have that that synergy, that joy,
yeah,
to show love to people. And just like we are joining each other virtually, we thank God for the ability
yeah,
and to join, virtually, and to be able to connect with people through technology. So,
yeah,
we learned a lot. And Dr. Juliet, like you said, I hope we never, 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 never have to experience that again. And so Doctor, I said doctor. Listen, Sandy, I just called you a doctor, so maybe you have to get your doctorate. But this Sandy Lawrence from the Fun Times team said, "Thank you both for stressing ways to remember the isolated people as well as your family." So she said,
yes,
"Thank you for that."
Yeah, but
And so,
I think I should
go ahead.
just add to that, with the pandemic, for every situation, when there's a good, there's
Yeah,
always a bad. Well, while we remember, the tough times that the pandemic created, we'd also have to
yeah,
acknowledge the good things that came
yeah,
out of it. And that's
yes,
what we're having right now, part of what we're having
yeah,
right now. Even though the pandemic shut us out, but we're able to innovate and create virtual
yeah,
communities out of that experience.
yes,
And guess what? We are able to even reach a far more wider people
yeah.
within our circles and beyond as a result of the
Very true.
pandemic. So it
yes,
kind of broadened our reach. even though it's not physical, but we're able to make it work. So that's one of the beauties of
Right.
any situation. Talk about when there's lemon, you make a lemonade. So we actually
Exactly.
made a very good lemonade out of the pandemic experience by having a
Exactly.
wider audience of connection through the social media.
Exactly. And,
Yes.
and so I want to, we're going to talk about something, talking about like how to, like you said, making lemons into lemonade. And so, the holidays come with challenges. I mean, there are challenges that come. And so let's talk a little bit more about the stressful elements when it comes to the holidays. And so, what are some of the most like stressful family elements about the holidays? Or have you seen family experiences experiencing like great friction? Like their breakups happen during the holidays. And so, how do we like overcome those stressful moments during the holidays? Coach B?
It's so important to make prayer a part of everything. And I say that because prayer does indeed change things. We have to, in all reality, there's always some type of dynamic in families where this one doesn't get along maybe with this one, and there's friction, there's some issues. But I do believe that if we remember the reason for the
Yeah.
season and we put our differences aside, we can do things
Yeah.
together. Sometimes some people are difficult and they may not want to see things that way, but I do believe that there has to be someone within the family that keeps peace
Mm,
amongst each other.
yeah.
And usually that's me. you know Usually that's me, because things do happen. People fall out. I mean, we just have to be realistic, but there has to be someone that wants to see peace, that doesn't want the strife or want the division. So it has to be someone that really has a heart for family and has a heart for peace and people coming together and being joyous, that can keep things together and keep family, on the same page. Look,
Yes.
let's do this together. Let's be about love. And it's possible. It is possible, but you have to have that person or those people that are really about keeping things
Mhm.
together and not ones that want to see the
Right.
division and the strife. So
Mhm.
it can be done and it is possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dr. Julia?
Oh, I was just going to say thank you, Coach B, for saying that you have to have focus, because when you asked that question, Levan, the only thing that came to mind is there would not be stress in the holiday season or in the holiday period if we know what the holiday is about in the first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Why are we celebrating?
Right.
For us Christians, we're celebrating the coming, the birth of our
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
How can such joy bring stress
Yeah.
if
That's
we
right.
knew that that's exactly what the season is about? But sadly, our experience has been that this whole season has been so commercialized,
Mm.
lies it. I mean, the focus is shifted so drastically from what it should be to
Yeah.
all of the other stuff, the preparation, the cooking, the this, the that, the shopping,
Buying
you
gifts.
know,
Yeah.
every
Yes.
other thing, every other thing
Yes.
except the reason why we should be celebrating. I mean, think about that. If you make it what it is, which for us, I'm a Catholic. For us Catholic, this period is what we call the Advent
Mm-hmm.
period. And the Advent period before Christmas Day, it's a 4 week period where you actually take 4 weeks to prepare
Right.
yourself. You're preparing yourself for the coming of the infant Christ.
Yes.
Okay. And this is a time of cleansing through prayer, right? You're cleansing yourself because we all acknowledge that we have fallen short of the glory by our sins.
Yeah.
So what do? We acknowledge that and we take time on a weekly basis to consciously take those steps that we need to prepare ourselves through prayer. How can that
Amen.
go for anyone?
Yeah.
Think about it. If that is your tradition, and this is a time it calls for family to come together
Right.
every week to do an examination of conscience. What are the things I could have done that I didn't do? What are the things that I can do to make it right? How can I bring myself in the place of grace? If that is the tradition, if that is what we're doing before Christmas and in the holiday season, trust me, there will be little stress involved in it. But because the focus again has been so taken away from what we should
Mm-hmm.
be doing, that's why all the stress is
That's
happening.
great.
Yeah.
And I just pray that we will come back to what is supposed to be, recognizing that we are expecting our infant Jesus. And in that expectation, it's a process of preparing ourselves and our soul, body, and mind. And just know that if we do that, every other thing will fall in place.
Yeah.
Because when you put Christ in the middle, everything falls in place. I mean, it does, you
Yeah,
know.
thank you both for sharing that. It's about, like you said, the reason for the season. And, you know, we are talking about, you know, family, faith, and culture. And depending on what your culture is, you may believe something else, but at the heart of it, it's about coming together and celebrating and having joy and love. And so if you think about the importance of that and why you're doing it, then you can say, okay, maybe I don't have to buy $10,000 worth of presents. Maybe I just come together with my family and show them love. And maybe we go and give food to the homeless. But we think about what it means. It's about a celebration. It's about celebrating our faith and our love for our faith and our love for our family. And that should help you put aside differences, should bring you back and remove some of the stress that could come when you lose your focus on
Amen to that.
what it's all about. Did you have something else you wanted to share, Coach B?
No, I'm sorry. I said amen to that. Yes.
I just wanted to, and so there was a few comments in the comments section. I'm just going to make sure I get everyone. So, Daisy, that is one of our fun times people. And they said you all got beautiful backgrounds.
Thank
And then we have
you.
someone that said the pandemic made me discover remote job opportunities. And like you said, there was a lot that happened negatively during the pandemic, but there's a lot of positives that came out of the pandemic. And so I just wanted to make sure I read those comments. We have had such a wonderful time with the both of you today. I want to thank you so
Yes.
much for your insights. They were invaluable, and I know that our audience really appreciated hearing your different perspectives. And so I want to thank you, Dr. Juliet and Coach B, for
Yes.
being a part of this conversation. And I really hope that this conversation sparks new ideas and encourages like a lot of meaningful reflections on how faith, family, and culture can be shared in your community. And so I want to thank you guys again so much for being here. I want to
Thank
thank the
you.
audience for joining us. And I hope that you enjoyed what you heard. And please share this live with your friends and family on social media. And I want to let you know that you can catch up with Fun Times and actually watch this particular presentation in our special events archives on funtimesmagazine.com. And I also want to encourage you guys to follow us on all social media platforms. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn, all under Fun Times Magazine. And so we talked a little bit earlier about the way the Fun Times Magazine is giving back. And so I just want to read a little bit of information about our upcoming toy drive. And so one of the quotes that is leading this toy drive, it says, as Maya Angelou says, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And so we want to encourage people to join us for our Christmas toy drive and giveaway on Saturday, December 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Abiding Truth Ministries. That is 846 South 57th Street, Southwest Philadelphia. And so families will be enjoying free toys, photos with Santa, games, prizes, caroling, and more. And so we are still looking for volunteers to help set up. And this event is free, but kids must register by December 14th. And so if you're interested in donating or volunteering, please let us know. You can reach out to Funtimes Magazine. You can put it, in our messages, and you can drop off toys at the Philadelphia International Christian Church at 932 East Huntington Park, Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. And so there's a lot of information that you can get by going to Funtimes Magazine's page or our social media page. You'll get more information about this toy drive. But again, I want to thank you too for joining us. We appreciate your perspective. Can't wait to have you back. And thank you all for joining our special Fun Times Live. Take
Thank
care.
you, Laban.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Take care.
you.
Bye,
Bye,
Have a
everyone.
blessed
everyone.
one. Bye
Thank you.
bye.